Hi and welcome to JJ's Productions. We're back with another Stoke City Vlogcast. With me as always is Jan. How are you doing?
I'm alright. Hope you all enjoyed the match yesterday, folks.
Yeah, I've heard a few people talking about slitting the wrists and all that rubbish about how bad a performance it was, but having seen the highlights on the Stoke City YouTube channel, I didn't think it was that bad as far as, at least we were scoring goals again.
Well, we were. Personally, I didn't think it was a bad match at all.
Yeah, we were listening to the radio commentary, so we did have a general feel for it, and bar maybe a bad start, I do think we recovered quite well.
Yes, we did. It's like we always say, 15 minutes and we're useless.
Yeah, it's sort of like you might as well give the opposition a head start, and that's something that's been going on for years. It's not a Gary Rowett problem, it's a Stoke City problem.
I just don't think they warm up until after 15-20 minutes.
We always used to joke, didn't we, about Ryan Shawcross and the fact that, they'd be doing the warm-ups under Tony Pulis, and him and Rob Booth, they'd be sort of just jogging along, doing the minimum effort, you'd say. And then as soon as the warm-up was called off, they'd go straight to the dressing room. They wouldn't sort of finish the lap or whatever. They'd just literally just go straight back.
It was as if they were racing who could get there first.
Yeah, and I get the feeling that sort of attitude has carried on here. It's a bit like they just do the minimum for the first 15 minutes while they're still warming up.
We're lucky in some respect that teams haven't clocked onto it.
Yeah.
Or else we could be in trouble.
Well, the thing is, you say that, yeah, I would argue they have clocked onto it, because when you think that opening goal yesterday was in the first 15.
Yeah.
So, it's a case of, I don't know what Stoke can do other than try and get them warmed up quicker.
Yeah.
Maybe the fitness coaches have got to really look into that, because I'm not exactly sure what more a manager can do in the sense of, yes, you can actually get the fitness coaches, but in the sense of team talks and that sort of stuff, you tell the players go out and play at full intensity from kick-off. If they cannot do it, then you've got to work out why they cannot do it.
Well, it's like when they come on for a warm-up. Okay, it's a warm-up, but they ought to start making them do something a bit more strenuous to get them going.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we actually need to go back to, as bad as it sounds, the TP type of warm-up, where it used to be just running around.
Yeah.
I don't think they used to touch the ball before the kick-off, or at least very little of it.
Yeah.
I think it was only when Mark Hughes came in they started doing shooting drills and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And, I'm wondering if that is what they should be going back to, just try and get them more energised and ready for the kick-off.
Yeah, I think so. And get them going through the little bollards, the little cones in and out, and just anything to get them going. Because at the minute, well, not at the minute, they just have got no go in them.
Yeah, we're saying this and it does sound like a lack of fitness, but it is also maybe just a lack of desire as well from the first whistle. So maybe the players themselves need to look at that, especially with Derby coming in midweek. This is the one match that I think every Stoke supporter looked at when the fixtures are released.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be saying I'm going to be upset if we don't at least get a draw in this, for the simple reason, it's arguably one of the biggest matches of our season.
Yeah.
So,
But going back to yesterday, I've got to say that I think they all played relatively good. McClean, I can't say he didn't do well. He did. But then again, he made two stupid mistakes by not marking his man.
Yeah, I think he definitely had a mixed bag. He had a hand in the second goal for Stoke, and he was at fault for both of their goals, arguably, in the sense that he didn't track at Angal Rangal.
Yeah.
So it depends how you view him. He did also have a few good contributions that didn't result in anything, but I think there's an argument that his defensive lapses were more costly than the offensive contributions he made.
Yeah,
so,
but it's like we've discussed, earlier, that he was unselfish.
Yeah.
In the way the second goal was it.
Yeah.
He could have scored himself, but he gave the ball to Joe Allen and Joe put it away.
I've got to admit, I'm actually glad he did that. Not only for the unselfish bit, but also I don't think I'd have backed him to score. He could have took the shot or the header, but I think he did the right thing to actually head it across.
Some wouldn't have done it. Some would have said, "Oh, I'll go for it."
In fairness, for the first goal, Sam CLUCAS did that. So, it's a case of, I think that is a good sign within the squad that they're willing to say, right, I can't score this, I'll pass it to my teammates, see if they can.
Yeah.
So we have got a bit of unselfishness in the squad. Maybe at times we just need to be more ruthless.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my pet hates. Nani, was it? Nani, wherever he's...
Oh yeah, the United
player. I think he was one of the most selfish players going. And I used to scream at the television watching him. And I don't like it in players, and I'm just glad that we've got a couple who showed yesterday that they aren't selfish.
I mean, I don't mind it to an extent, selfishness, but it's like Tom Ince. I don't mind him taking pot shots from outside the area at times, but you've got to pick your moments.
Yeah.
It's a bit like how you've just described Nani. There were times when you'd watch a game with him, and like you say, you'd be screaming, especially if you got a bet on.
Yeah.
And you'd be screaming because you'd want him pass the ball and just play the smart move.
Yeah.
But it's a bit like that with Ince as well. Sometimes he'll take a shot when you think, don't shoot, just pass the ball and keep the ball moving. But
I think with Ince, it's the case of, well, nobody else is trying, I might as well have a shot myself.
Yeah, I've got to agree there as well, and I don't blame him when he has that attitude, because we do seem a bit shot shy when we're playing.
Yeah, I mean, we've had 0-0 draws, and I think that's when he said to himself, I've got to try it.
Well, I've got to add on with the substitutions yesterday that I think that confused a lot of Stokies. I mean, I can understand to an extent bringing Sam CLUCAS off on. It was his first start for the club, and he seemed to have a good game. But I think a few Stokies were confused by bringing Bojan on when we were 2-1 up, in the sense of, couldn't we have just maybe put on, I'm saying Darren Fletcher for instance, but the idea of a more conservative player, and then maybe brought Bojan on later on. But I can sort of understand that argument, but I think the one that's really annoyed people is the idea of bringing off both Ince and McClean and putting on a Phobia and Crouch. So the idea is you're taking off your two wingers and putting on two target men. And I completely understand the frustration there, because if we got Eric Peters on the left, I would be arguing maybe we've got two full-backs who can send in crosses. But we hadn't really got that with Martin Zindi, and you've only got Edwards, and that's a lot of pressure for one player. So I do feel bad for Crouch and Phobia coming on there, because they're going to get the stick for that, whereas really I think Rowett should have looked and thought maybe I should take off Allen or Woods or someone else just to change the play a little.
Yeah, I must admit I was a bit shocked when I saw the team yesterday. It isn't who I would have chosen.
Oddly enough, I'd choose it for the next game.
No.
Only because I think Derby are very attacking, and I think having three defensive midfielders in a game like that wouldn't be a bad thing. I'm not saying that I'm going to encourage it for every game, but I wouldn't shout against it in this one particular game.
Yeah. I mean,
I think
it worked out well yesterday.
I think it could have worked better. I mean, in the sense that we were 2-1 up, so I don't think you can criticise it.
No.
But equally, I think I agree with the shouts that maybe a Bojan was needed, just someone who can thread a ball, just to create something for Berahino, if anything.
Yeah, I always think that round about the 65-70 mark, then make a substitution.
Yeah.
And fresh legs doesn't hurt at all.
I mean, it's one of my pet hates that I will be at the game and I'll be saying, all right, looking at the time, 60 minutes, where's the sub? Even if we're doing all right, I'll tend to be looking, because if we're doing well, I want a sub to just keep the momentum going for us.
Yes.
And if we're playing bad, I want something to change it. So this is what irritates me when you get managers who don't make a change till the 70-minute mark, because I'm thinking, why are you leaving it so late?
Well, that's it, and I really think that it should have been made earlier, the substitution.
Yeah.
But that, again, they did well. I can't fault them, really.
I mean, what I've seen of Sam CLUCAS, just in the highlights, I'll admit, but I did hear his name on the radio as well, he seemed to have a good game, and I think considering his inclusion brought a bit of a negative reaction regarding the three midfielders.
Yeah.
I think he did well, and to be honest, I actually like the look of him as far as having a presence in midfield, because I think when you compare him to our other options at the moment, you've got Allen and Woods, who aren't the tallest, aren't the most physical.
No.
You've got Atebo as well, who's pretty similar in that sense. I think CLUCAS can offer us something different in that maybe he's a little less hard to bully off the ball.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more of him, especially in the Derby game.
I think the one thing I'm really disliking at the minute is the change of team all the time. Because they just aren't getting used to playing.
I mean, in that sense, I feel a bit sorry for a Phobie game drop, because I do respect he's on a goal drought, and you can't really persist with a striker on a goal drought. You know, you look at strikers in the Premier League, you've got Alvaro Morata, who gets dropped by Chelsea after not scoring for a while, same with Lukaku at United. But equally, there are times when a striker does go on a drought and they maintain the place in the squad, like Aguero. He's gone on droughts and kept in the team, even though Jesus is on the bench. So, you know, those are the big examples. So I think to myself, why is it sometimes that the littler strikers, as such, don't get the same treatment?
Yeah, I think, in my opinion again, that Phobie and Berahino should start, no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, Liam Lawrence in the commentary yesterday, he was screaming for two up top. I think he wanted Ince and McClean to be wide men and Berahino and Phobie up front.
Yeah.
And there is an argument for that, you know, having two up front would have actually caused more problems for their back line. But for whatever reason, Gary Rowett seems insistent on a 4-3-3, and it doesn't seem like even when we're losing, he's really pushing for it. I think he'd rather try and shove a Phobie out wide, as it was proven yesterday.
Yeah, but I definitely think that we've got to have a team that is playing together all the time.
Yeah.
You know, you bring in somebody else and they think, well, what am I doing here, you know?
I mean, I could question Berahino being like that, in the sense that, you know, he's probably played most of this season off the left, or maybe just right behind a Phobie, so suddenly he's the main man and he's thinking, hang on, do you want me to do my normal role? Do you want me to do the role that I'm sort of used to doing from before? You know, he must have a little question, even if he's been told, in the sense of, well, what do you want from me? Why haven't you picked me here before? So, you know, I can understand if there was question marks. He got his goal yesterday. That's something I'm glad for. But equally, you think, you know, is there any doubt there from him?
Yeah, but I definitely think that something's got to happen, that he's not swapping and changing all the time, because it isn't working.
I mean, just to change stuff up a little bit, we did just talk about James McClean, how he had a lapse for the 2 goals. I do think Tom Edwards as well was a bit out of position. Well, not out of position, he didn't do good on the first goal.
No, I felt sorry for Tom yesterday. He wasn't having a good game at all.
I mean, I think that is basically a young player's mistake, in the sense that he was trying to keep tight to his man. He went for the ball and he just got sold a dummy pretty much and lost track of his man. So I think that's something you learn with age. You know, it happens to you and you think, right, I won't let that happen again. That's what I'm hoping for Tom anyway.
I think he will. He's young enough to take it all in, and he's got big shoulders for ever rollicking off the boss or whatever, you know.
I mean, that's just me anyway. Priority number 1 as a full-back, I haven't played the game, but this is what I'd assume anyway, that priority 1 for a full-back is to stop the cross.
Yeah.
You know, don't try and do anything too clever, just stop the cross. And I think that's just what he failed yesterday. And I've got to bring it up just for the fact that you can't criticise James McClean and not criticise a local player as well, otherwise you're being unfair to the whole squad. But I think it's something he'll learn from. You know, I think McClean has got time to learn as well, so that's one thing at least.
Another player I want to just mention is Tom Ince. I wasn't impressed at all when we signed him. I think it's because of the fiasco the season before, and it just got me down. But no, I've been getting to really like him. He's coming into his own, and he was involved in both goals yesterday. So I've got nothing but praise for him at the minute.
I mean, I think the only reason I wasn't warm to the signing is the fact that when he left, I think it was Blackpool, he went on a bit of a tour of the country, shall we call it, with his dad, you know, and he was eyeing up potential suitors. I think he went to us, he went to, I think it was Swansea, you know, he pretty much went to every Premier League club in the country, to my thoughts. And he ended up at Crystal Palace, I think. So, yeah, I was a little bit angry about that, because, I thought you're messing us about, you know, in the sense that we were looking for players and he was just sort of using us as a bargaining chip. I wasn't impressed, but I've got to admit, we've signed him and he has done well for us. So, you know, it's one of those situations where you can overlook a bit of shady past with the club, if
Yeah.
it means that he's doing well for us in the present.
I'm just glad that I didn't tar him as the same brush as his father, Paul Ince, because I never liked him at all.
I would say I never saw Paul Ince. I used to like him as MK Don's manager. You know, I thought he did all right getting them from League Two, but I say he didn't do well after that.
Yeah. Right. The news this week. Do you want to cover that?
Yeah.
No, not that there is much.
Actually, I was just going to say, there isn't any news. You know, between our last video and this video, that's really happened is the game. So, unfortunately, in other news is a bit redundant this time.
Yeah. The only thing we can cover is Gary Rowett. And the Rowett haters are back in full force. They want him out.
I mean, it's got to be said, there is justification for the argument. We're not sort of ragging on that group as such. You know, the results aren't going the club's way, so there is a reason they're obviously shouting up. Yeah, I can't help that. I'm a bit of a... I'd like to defend the young managers, because the way I see it is, they have got time on the side to learn from their mistakes. You know, and I think to myself, you've got a very patient chairman in Peter Coates, even if maybe he's passing more on to John right now. And I like to think to myself, will he give him longer than a season if we don't get promoted?
I hope so. Because like you say, he is a young manager. They are the up and coming for the future. You know, if they go on as long as Fergie, you know, I don't how old is Gary Rowett?
I don't know exactly, but he's in his 40s.
Yeah, he could have a good 30 years.
I mean, I just think to myself about Gareth Southgate at Middlesbrough. And, you know, he did okay for a season or two, got them relegated, and then when they didn't start well in the Championship, they sacked him. And I can't but shake the feeling that what would have happened if if England hadn't taken a chance on Southgate in the under-21s originally, and then obviously as England manager. And that's just one example. You know, Eddie Howe, for instance, he didn't do great at Burnley after he left Bournemouth. You know, he went back to Bournemouth and worked wonders. So there are instances where it doesn't work out. I'll admit, I've just mentioned the Burnley incident with the Howe. But there are times when a little bit of patience can reap rewards. And I'd just love to see that happen at Stoke. Because right now it is a bad period for Rowett, for Stoke. But I can't help but think, what happens if we come through it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering, you know, Rowett out. Who do you want to bring in? Please comment on it, because I haven't got a clue who I would bring in as a manager.
I mean, the one that seems to be shouted at the moment is Sam Allardyce, in the sense that he's on the market. You've got David Moyes as well. I wouldn't be surprised if there hasn't been people saying Slaviša Jokanovic, who just got sacked by Fulham as well. So, you know, as far as options, there would be names out there just for that, because I do want to provide an argument for that group of people who do want Rowett out.
I can't see Big Sam coming here.
No, same with Moyes. I think both of them would eye up Premier League jobs only or international jobs.
Yeah.
But I think Jokanovic would consider a job like this, and he has had a track record of promotion. He's done 2 promotions in 2 different clubs.
Yeah.
So there is an argument there that he is more capable of the job than Rowett is at the moment. But I stand by my point that, you know, you've just seen what's happened to Jokanovic in the Premier League, and you think there's always a point when young managers will be pushed. And I think to myself, Jokanovic could have done what Ranieri did yesterday, in the sense it could have just suddenly clicked and everything worked. Maybe he hasn't got a defensive coaching mind, but maybe given time, he would have found a way to get the winning football from the attacking football he was trying at Fulham. So it's like this with Rowett here. Yes, he's defensive, but when we signed him, there was a general consensus among Stoke supporters that if we got results, it didn't matter if it was the most boring football on the planet. The trouble is we aren't getting the results. Now, what I'm looking for is, can we get the results even if the football doesn't improve? Because I know some supporters will say, well, that's not good enough. But the way I see it is, it's what we agreed for when we signed Rowett.
Yeah, I mean, I'm stuttering here. I'm at a loss for words what to say, because I think we've got to give him a chance.
I mean, for me, 3 months in a job, I mean, I'm just counting 4 months even in a job.
That isn't long enough.
No, I think this is part of the instant mentality that has grown amongst football, and I don't think Frank Lampard doing as well as he has at Derby has helped. in the sense that I think a lot of Stoke supporters are looking at that and thinking, well, he's only just got a first job, how is it that he's doing so well? And I think a lot of people are neglecting the fact that both Rowett and Steve McClaren before him, and if we're going to add on Nigel Pearson, they all built that squad together, if you like, in the sense that Lampard's only had to add a few players in who are younger and maybe a bit more hungry, like Mason Mount and Harry Wilson on loan. You know, it's not like it's been a massive rebuilding job, whereas Stoke, in my eyes, was the harder job, in the sense that you really had got to root out the bad players and add some players who were capable.
I think what it was is that in the Hughes era, we bought such naff players that we've had to get rid of them, and there's still maybe a couple still there that we need to get rid of. But who do we bring in?
Well, that's the trouble, but history suggests that Gary Rowett prefers experience over youth. Now, that's something I don't personally agree with.
No, I don't.
I think we're both on that argument. You know, there was a clear signing last season for Rowett where he brought in Cameron Jerome to try and help Derby get over the January problems they have, and it didn't really work. And you think it might be that he's leaning this way again with us. You know, we've had Williams, who's a over 30 player. We've had McClean, who's coming on 30. You think we do need to lean towards the under 25s, really, if we can. But if we have to go under 28,
in the youth academy that can come in and just give them a chance.
Yeah, I mean, he said he is looking at the youth academy. He had them training with them last week, and I can't help but think. Sure, I mean, I said this in the last video. The likes of Ollie Shenton, for instance, Tyrese Campbell, even Harry Suter, they must be knocking on his door and saying, are you going to give me a chance at some point? Because I can't prove myself if you don't give me a chance.
Yeah, and why he isn't giving him a chance? Nobody else will want him.
I know, I mean, I'm just chirping in here because I know Harry Suter had a game in the League Cup against Forest.
Yeah.
But the way I see it is that's one game, you know, and I think these players do need a run. I mean, look at Tom Edwards. He got the one game against Bristol City, was it?
Yeah.
And he's gone on a run since then.
Yeah.
You know, and you think that's what some of these younger players need.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to build momentum if you just get one game, you don't impress, and suddenly you're back in the youth team.
And the thing is with these young players, they'll come on and play their hearts out because they don't only want to impress the staff, they want to impress the crowd.
Sorry, I've got to interrupt. We've just had a little funny moment here, right? When we pick up the recordings after, I'm listening through and I can just hear this gentle thud in the background. And it's because when Mum gets a little bit passionate, she'll start tapping the table right by the microphone. So I've just gently got her hand and I've gone, no dear, no, we're not tapping the table this week. So yeah, I'm just trying to be protective of the audio. But yeah, let's just get back on track for a minute because that was just a really silly sidetrack. Do you want to get onto your stats for the Derby games?
I think they're better.
Yeah.
Right, they're doing quite well, very well as you can imagine. They've had 9 wins, 4 draws and 5 losses. And they're in 6th place at the minute, which is very good. The key players at the moment are Marriott, Lawrence and Wilson. And Marriott is on 5 goals, Lawrence and Wilson are on 4 each. So that's not bad. We're currently in 13th position and we're just lingering there.
Yeah, we're not climbing fast.
No, we're just lingering, and I don't like lingerers in any shape or form.
I mean, it's bad that I can recite the top scorers off the top of my head, and we've got Afobe on 4, we've got Allen on 3, and we've got Berahino on 2. This is all in the league.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we need one of those 3 to go on a run, really, because we're not going to climb the table if those numbers stay so low.
I don't give a monkeys who it is who puts that ball in the net, as long as they keep going in.
Yeah.
You know, but at the minute, we're just not doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm sounding a bit downhearted. I can hear it in my own voice. And I'm trying not to be, folks. I really am. But I am a bit it's just a disappointing start to the season.
Yeah, I mean, I can forgive what other people describe as boring football. You know, again, I was raised on Tony Pulis football, and for me, that was always entertaining in some manner, unless it was like one of those really dire matches where it was like there was just no attacking intent.
Yeah.
And I think some Stoke supporters have got a little bit too used to the good football that was under Hughes, and they can't accept that maybe we're going back to the older ways. And personally, I didn't mind it. You know, it's only when the results weren't matching the performances weren't anywhere near good enough under Tony Pulis that I actually turned and thought, oh God, we've got to make a change sooner or later. But that was also because we were getting better players in. You know, we got Stephen Nzonzi and we were asking him to play Route 1 football. It was just a waste of his talent. You know, and I think we're not in that position now. We haven't got Stephen Nzonzi, we haven't got Marko Arnautovic, and I think a lot of Stoke supporters keep looking back. I mean, I keep seeing that on Twitter, and it's really irritating me how so many Stoke supporters keep looking at Arnautovic, Shaqiri, and it's like they keep going back into the past and daydreaming about what was. And I think, forget about it, that's the past. We're in the present now, and we've got a certain set of players who don't play in that way. I think the only remnant of that team is Bojan, and I think the fact that he isn't in the side anymore sort of demonstrates where we are as a club. That he isn't necessarily the focal point anymore, he's just a part rather than the key cog that he once was.
Well, I think in the January window, we've got to do something. We've got to. And I'm sorry, but McClean, I just do not want him in the team. I'm probably contradicting myself in what I'm saying, but I just don't think he gives enough. Yesterday he tried, but I'm not impressed.
I think the difficulty with McClean is that he doesn't offer a lot. You know, he doesn't score goals, he doesn't get assists very often, and he doesn't generally defend well. You know, that's based on what we've seen so far. All of those things could improve, so, you know, he's got a month and a half to actually do that.
Yeah.
But it's got to be a massive improvement in that space of time for people like ourselves to say, right, we can cope with just McClean.
Yeah.
Because right now, I'm with you, I think we need options on the wing besides him.
We've got to. And Stoke have got to pay out money.
Because Rowett seems insistent on this 4-3-3. And the fact is, we've only really got two players who can play in the wide positions. Ince on the right and McClean on the left. If not, we have to play Berahino on the left, and even though he's doing a job there, he's not a specialist.
No. Something has definitely got to be done in the January window, because whatever is going on here, it isn't working. And did Rowett bring McClean from Derby?
No, he got him from West Brom.
He played.
He actually wanted him at Derby, but he
that's it.
Couldn't get him from West Brom.
And I don't know what he saw in him.
Yeah, I'm a little bit baffled, but the fact is he seems very insistent on him. It's like when I was listening to the post-match interview, I heard him talking about other players and he'd use the surnames like Allen and Woods, but when it came to McClean he called him Macca. And I thought, is there just some
favouritism?
And it's very concerning when you see that, because you think, is that the reason why he's in the team?
Yeah. Well, it's like Pulis and Mijani.
Oh.
You know.
If ever there was a case of favouritism, that was it. I mean, I'm not being funny. You don't play that many games and have so many inconsistent performances as Johnny did towards the end.
I mean, that lad was knackered.
I was so glad when he got taken out of the team, and it's not because I don't love Johnny Walters, it's just the fact that by the end of that consecutive spell, he was, as you called it, knackered.
Yeah.
He needed a rest.
Dear. You could see it every week that you were there. You know, and this is what's going to happen with this McClean, because he's teacher's pet. And he's just going to get played because he likes him.
Yeah, and I'm a bit baffled as to what Rowett's seen. I really feel we need to see it, and we're not.
Yeah.
But we have got to wrap this up, so what are your predictions for the game? Because we haven't actually talked much about Derby themselves, so I apologise.
We'll do that next time.
Yeah.
1-0, Stoke.
Well, I've got to admit, I played this game twice, and I got 8 goals in the game both times. So I'm being lied to by the game again, and I'm sort of expecting a goal fest, but I'm concerned it will be against us, so I don't want to say it, but I'm going to go 2-1 Derby.
Oh, no, you can't do that.
I don't want to say it, but I just don't see us getting the result.
You can't do that.
I can do it, it's just that it's not going to give me popularity points.
Well, one year is slap around the head in a minute.
Yeah, I'm just not seeing us getting the win, unfortunately, and I think a draw's a fair fight, so I'm
I
just
can't
hoping
believe you've just said that.
Yeah, I would have liked to have gone for the draw, but I'm just not seeing it.
Listen to mother, folks.
Alright, so this has been the Stoke City Vlogcast. Hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a like. Other than that, we'll see you next time.
Okay, goodbye, folks, and please comment. Okay, bye.